Hello, hello, hello. We are going live up to Facebook. So happy Monday, everybody. And today we are talking about the power of language and how words impact us. And I am really excited to introduce Sonia as we will be touching on this topic and sharing insights, tips, tools. Welcome, Sonia. Please share a little bit about yourself, and we're going to jump into this topic.
Yes. So, hello, everybody. So glad to be here. This is one of my favorite subjects to talk about. I'm a stress and anxiety coach dealing with all the overwhelm, all the chaos and stuff. And just from my background of having, that was me, the overwhelm, the high stress, the high anxiety, like just everywhere, every day. And I know from my personal experience, like how important those words are and just our choices. And it really is funny because now that I've become aware of this, and I'm sure you find this too, Trisha, with when we listen to other people, like when I hear my mom talk and I'm like, I just hear the actual words she uses and I'm like, oh, like once you become aware of how important it is and how it can really impact, and it's kind of like, I'd say, now agree or disagree, it's almost like its own little secret language
Mm.
where we say something, oh, that's not what I meant, but this is how our subconscious is going to take it. This is what we're actually telling ourselves, right?
Mhm. And it's so important. I tell, when I talk to my clients, I'm like, pay attention to what you're saying to yourself. We tend to hear a catchy song. Next thing you know, we're just repeating the words. But little do you understand or recognize that those words on constant repeat are actually creating new neural pathways, which are actually creating new neural beliefs. And it's like I started to listen to some of my favorite songs and things that I say that I'm like, oh shit, I'm actually programming this into my head of like, wow. So that actually made me redirect to what I'm listening to, what I'm speaking to myself, and it's phenomenal. And it's interesting, like you said, Sonia. I tend to hear people and I'm like, wow, that is such a belief that people are saying to themselves, and they don't even realize it because we are just going about our day and we are very programmed and the things we do and say. It is repetitive, just like driving to work the same way, just like buying the same ice cream or um, hanging out with the same people, even though when you're leaving, you're kind of feeling a little bit
Yeah.
deflected.
And that's such a good point. Just when you said when we're driving, that actually made me think of something. How many times do we literally go on autopilot and we make it to work, we don't really remember the drive because we're on autopilot because we've trained ourselves to do that same thing over and over again. And I think this is the perfect example for people to really understand how those pathways are created. It's just literally the repetitiveness of something where we literally just absorb it, take it in, and learn it. We don't teach ourselves, okay, self, I turn left here. We don't do that every day to go to work. It's just that natural where we absorb it after doing it. And the other thing that's really important for people watching to understand is our subconscious does not understand or differentiate between a joke, sarcasm. Again, I'm not talking about myself. I'm singing a song. It doesn't get that. If we're saying it, it's taking it in. And to your point, if you're saying it, singing it over and over and over, it's taken, right? Like, so just for people who don't understand, yeah, the neural pathway stuff, we're like, yeah, it's all the same.
It is. And it's like riding a bike. You get on and you know how to do it because you've done it so many times. So it's bringing awareness to how do we speak to ourselves?
Yeah.
When you are and I'm just started reading this book and I'm really enjoying it. I cannot think of the name of it right now, but it's about when you're saying somebody makes us mad or somebody makes us, you're
Giving away our power.
you're
Sorry.
giving your power away. No, you're absolutely correct. You're giving your power away. But again, think about where you're using that phrase. Think about how programmed you are. And when we start to pay attention to, or even, I love what you said, depreciating humor. People are like, they're talking down about themselves, going, yeah, I know it and I get it. But that's your belief system making fun of something but the thing is it really does believe it, so it'll be like giggling like, oh, it's fine, I always do it that way, or whatever that is, and check in with what it is you're saying about yourself.
Well, and especially because how many of us in as almost like a deflective defense mechanism. Oh, haha, whatever. I'm so stupid.
Yes.
Literally. And all we hear is, I'm so stupid.
Yeah.
Like, again, because our subconscious doesn't understand, even if we're joking or not, it doesn't get it. It just hears, I'm stupid. And you say that enough time and like think about like you're beating yourself down every time you say that. You're stupid. You're stupid. You're like, we're emotionally abusing ourselves.
Yes, yes, I love that. We are. Not that I love that, but I love
I'm in
that
a
how you said
toxic
that,
relationship
because
with myself.
yeah, because when you catch yourself saying, I can't, I'm not, and that's the other thing, like when we start saying things, I am no longer, or I am not, or your brain does not hear some of those words. So you're actually like, let's say, I am, I am not easily defeated. I am not easily whatever. You're actually dropping that and you're programming yourself to say, I am. I
Yes.
am. So when you start using I am, what is the rest of that sentence? Because that's really, really important to how you're speaking about yourself, how you're programming yourself, and how you are showing up to your clients, your collaborators, your significant other, your friends.
Yeah, and actually that's a very good point because that's something I learned I'll say fairly recently, like the last, year or so, recently in my long decade long journey of that not our subconscious, yeah, doesn't take that in. And this is why, if anyone's ever wondered, people will correct the affirmations, like when you write out the 20 things about yourself, like whatever you're writing out about yourself. Everyone, the coaches always say it's so important to make it the positive, keep it positive. But rarely do I hear a coach explain why to keep it positive. So you think, oh, yeah, keeping it positive, whatever. If I have one or two negatives, who cares? But no, because exactly what you just said, it doesn't hear the not, it hears everything else. So, yeah. And actually, if you don't mind, I have my favorite example. I used it like 10,000 times, but I think it's such a good one of where those words really matter. Because my mom uses the word can't. Like,
Mhm.
I understand there's a time and a place for can't. We can't, we shouldn't jump off cliffs. There's things we can't and should not do. We can't kill people, or I guess that might still be a should. Anyway, there's time and a place for can't, but really, otherwise, I think this should just be scrubbed from our vocabulary completely. Because I always think of like cookies, because I always seem to talk about this closer to Christmas time. But so if we have a treat or something, saying, if we're trying to eat well, lose weight, whatever it might be, saying, oh, I can't have that. Because how many of us at a restaurant, oh, I can't have dessert. Oh, I'm on a diet. I can't do that. I can't have that. But if you think about that, how does that make you feel? I can't. You feel deprived. It's a negative association. Like you don't feel good saying, I can't have that. And I know usually when I say, oh, I can't have that, I feel like, oh, I can't have that. Like almost like I'm a small child being scolded, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if I say, oh, I choose not to have dessert today, I'm taking care of myself. Like, even as I say it, my posture is like, I choose not to eat that. Like, you can't help but feel empowered saying, like, I choose not to eat that dessert, or I choose not to eat those cookies, or whatever it is. And it's the exact same thing. Either which way, we're not eating the cookies or the dessert. It's the same result. But how we get there is exponentially different. Are we berating ourselves and depriving ourselves? Or are we empowering ourselves and feeling amazing about ourselves? One small word. Like, yeah, it's just night and day. And this is where, like, obviously us talking and even like what to name this, it's like literally the power of language, because it's, I don't want to say it's everything because so many things are encompassed, but it really is so important.
It is. It really is. I'm gonna share a personal story. I was talking to a friend of mine several months ago, and I'm like, I am so busy. And she goes, how you feeling with that? I go, I'm feeling exhausted. So she goes, how does I am productive? And I'm like, very different vibrational words. I am busy makes you feel like you're trying to keep catching up. You are constantly going, not really accomplishing. I'm so busy. I'm so busy. I'm so busy. Now, when you say I'm productive, it's like, look at everything I've accomplished today. Look at where I'm at. Very different vibrational, feelings of these words.
Yes.
Same as I need,
Yes.
I want, I desire, I choose. Every single one of these have a different vibrational feeling. When you constantly are saying, I need, I need, I need, it is a lackful scarcity feeling.
Yes.
Then it's like you're going up to I want. I choose. Choose is very empowering. I am empowered that I am choosing this direction, this path, this thing for myself. And desire is, it is so, the possibilities and opportunities are there.
Yes. Actually, that is good right there. We should make a little cut paste little snippet of that right there. Cuz yeah, that is things to learn. Honestly, I would say people watching replay live whatever, take those four things and put them somewhere. Write them down, put them on the wall, put them beside your mirror, like wherever you can, just to remind yourself like this really is, cuz correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like it's like, when we take a changing our food options. If we like clear the pantry and the fridge and we buy whole new everything, it's overwhelming. It's a lot. So it's not like we can jump from I need to I desire. I feel like there is a progression of taking those steps. So if we have that in front of us, and every time you can catch yourself and you can see this list, you're going to become more and more aware of like, holy crap, I say I need a lot. Okay, well, I don't really want to say I want, but let's jump to I choose maybe. We can make that small leap. And even for things, because a lot of us do say, oh, I'd love to have, i.e., I want. But again, it's still that undertone of lacking, right? So, yeah, I think that's really, really good. Write it down, put it on the wall, and just bring your awareness to it a lot. Yeah, I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah. And it's the same thing for money goals. You know, when you go from, let's say you're making $1,000 a month and now you're going, I am a millionaire, I am a millionaire, to you and your subconscious, that's a big gap. Can anything change with a quantum leap?
Well,
Absolutely 100%. However, if you're here and you're trying to jump here, that's a huge gap for you. So do what makes you feel expansive and growth oriented instead of totally unreachable, impossible, never going to happen, but I'm still saying it because that's what the gurus tell me to do.
Well, and that's because I was taught the C type goal, the Bob Proctor, who's Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. You need your Mount Everest, like, holy crap, I have no idea how I'm going to get that goal, but I desire the crap out of it. But we have my old mentor, she called them base camp goals. Because, yeah, the 0 to 1 million or 1,000 to 1 million, our subconscious can't fathom that. Like, it's so big of a jump to your point, right? Like, we can't even process it. So we just reject it. So, yeah, it's important to have those base camp goals of I'm going to reach for 10,000, then I'm going to go 20,000, then 50, then 80, then like, and just kind of slowly creep up there. And before you know it, that Everest, you're like, shoot, I'm almost at the top. What? Like, so yeah, it's all about steps. Definitely have your huge, high $1 million goal for sure. But that's not necessarily your next step, right? Like, it's all about, and I'll just throw in a shameful little plug for us. This is why we have coaches, and this is why it's important to have someone help you, because reminding of us those things, even myself, like I'm sure you have a coach slash mentor, we can't see our own blind spots. We don't necessarily maybe know. Even my coach, I've said something and I'm like, I feel good about that. And she's like, repeats the words back to me. She's like, did you hear what you just said? I'm like, oh, dang. Yep. I actually didn't hear what I said. But so I'm just going to throw it out there. If this is something people are serious about, maybe start perusing for somebody to help you, whether that's just joining a group. But yeah, it really is. It can be difficult to get this on your own. So just thought I'd throw that out there.
Well, that's great because yes, having a coach, a mentor is exceptional. They will help you shorten that gap. They will see your blind spots where you don't. They will be listening to you as you're talking. And it's interesting because as we talk, we don't even recognize sometimes some of the things that we're saying. I'm very, very lucky. Like my husband will be like, did you hear yourself? And I'll think about what I said. And I'm like, no. So he'll repeat it. And I'll be like, oh, wow. So when you also have somebody within your environment doing that for you, it really is exceptional. And that is an easy way to also shorten that gap. But big part of it is getting from that unconscious and being self-aware
Yes.
of how you speak to yourself, what you're saying, what music you're listening to, what are you bringing inside internally, and the ways that you're doing it. Reading, watching TV, listening to music, listening to YouTubes, listening to other people speak. And it's about connecting that place within you saying, does this resonate? Is this making me expansive? Is this making me contracted? Because there have been people that are like, oh my God, this one's so fabulous on, messaging or so fabulous on this. And then you listen and you're like, something doesn't feel right. That's your intuition telling you something may not be right.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And that's another good point. I mean, I guess that's a whole nother subject to talk about
Yes.
later. But intuition is tapping into that and allowing it to be your guide. I think is just again, it's kind of a bit next level of how to really boost and help yourself is to listen to yourself. And whether that might be, so I had a reasonably decent cold last week, and I didn't want to neglect my business completely, but that hopping on and just being like listening for those signs and that intuition of like, okay, that's enough, we're done, and be like, okay, self, we're done, let's go rest, and not pushing myself like old me would have pushed and pushed. Oh, I have to, in that overwhelm because we tell ourselves I have to get it done. I think that's if you're a stressed, high anxiety person, that's our number one phrase we say to ourselves. But I have to. And I always come back with why. Says who, right? And it's again that language of have to. We're mounting this pressure on ourselves and dumping this load. And you always think, like I always tell my clients, so we have this giant list, which let's be real, when we're overwhelmed, we're never finishing it anyway, because we've put too much on it for a day. And we think, but I have to. So then we add more, but I have to get that done. We're never getting it all done. So whether you choose to not put stuff on the list and call it a day when your list is full, or you choose to just have the list, the schedule and list unfulfilled and feel like poo when you're done the end of the day, that's your choice. Either which way, you're not getting it all done. So having that awareness and recognizing and just realizing just everything about how we think about things, the words we use, and how it chain reacts, snowballs into all these other, and just that simple, but I have to leads to an overbooked schedule, overwhelmed life, running around. All of a sudden, you're hating your life. You're going to bed exhausted every day. All of a sudden, you're like, how did I do this? Well, because you had to. One simple word.
Yeah. And it goes from overwhelm into burnout. And then what started out as fun and freedom and excitement has now become like these big boulders around your neck that you're dragging.
Yep.
And one of the things I share with my clients is do the top three things.
Yes.
Do the top three things, and everything else is yes, I can get to it. And if not, but I did the top three things. I'm excited, I'm empowered, I was able to accomplish these. We tend to constantly look at the lack, the scarcity, what's not done, beat ourselves up, instead of changing that focus to, wow, look at what I accomplished. Look at the things I did today. This is all phenomenal. So when we change that focus to not doing, getting done, to what did I do? What did I accomplish? What areas did I exceed in? How I'm proud of myself. Like, it's
Yes.
so amazing. People are like, but I didn't. Okay, now take that, put that over here, and now focus on everything you did do. You did accomplish. It's a huge shift in perspective. It is a huge shift in your beliefs. And it is a huge shift in how you speak to yourself.
Yep. Well, and that's also, I mean, again, whole separate chat we could have, our
Oh, yeah,
perspective,
yeah.
how it shapes our reality. But again, it's coming back to choices of, choosing to see. It's like glass half full, glass half empty. How are you going to choose to see that? One man's treasure is another man's garbage. Like all of these different sayings we have for a reason, because it's how you choose to see it. Even, I was thinking about walking my dogs, and I was just thinking, in Canada, that Western society, we are raised to see what we don't have. Like, I know people that build these mansions. Like, one of my old massage clients, he owned his own business, a very successful business, built this mansion of a house, had trucks coming out his wazoo, built a shop that's bigger than most people's high end large houses. Plus, he had a separate garage for all his cars. Like, this is extraordinarily wealth, especially for my neck of the woods. Like, this man could have anything he wanted. He had so much money. But he was a regular client of mine. Like every 2 weeks, I saw him, and he started having panic attacks because he was so stressed about everything he didn't have, how his business wasn't growing, and he didn't have enough money. And I'm like, you don't have enough money? Like people would kill to have a fraction of the income you do. But he was so focused on everything he didn't have. This man was the most stressed out, unhappy person I knew. And I'm like, dude, you need a vacation. I don't have time for a vacation. I'm like, good Lord, I've got time for a vacation. Like, what are you doing? But again, through the again, that language, I don't have, and like it was crazy. And I will say, because this is how it works, literally what he talked himself into. And this is why I know literally money does not uh, bring happiness. It doesn't. Like, case in point with this guy. I mean, it certainly helps along the way, for sure. But it's our choices, right? It's like, yeah, the words, how we talk to ourselves, like literally I feel like if he would have just chose his language better and flipped that script on himself, oh my goodness, the world would be his oyster. Like, yeah,
And the piece there that is there was no gratitude for what was already there. It is about seeing, being grateful for it. And, you know, we tend to, again, speak into so our words do matter. I remember listening to Abraham Hicks, and she would say, you put the same amount of energy into a button as you put the same amount of energy into your desires. So it's just about taking that energy and focusing on the things you do want, speaking it into existence. But again, when you speak into it, is it a abundant, positive desire? And not this, I can't or I shouldn't, or, and here's the other thing, we're told when we have too much, we are XYZ. But your desires are there for a reason. So checking in with the belief system, checking in with how you speak about it, checking in with, and again, this is a huge self-awareness. And something that I do daily, something I have my clients do daily, is setting up reminder in your phone to go
Yes.
off and asking empowered questions and having you think about what is going on through your mind, what is going on through your day. Actually stops and you're like, oh, yes, I see I went down the rabbit hole of hell. Well, that's done and over. I'm now going to do this. I am
Yes.
now going to focus on where I am creating momentum and where I'm creating change and let that other piece just go.
Yeah, and actually that actually just popped into my head. I think another great exercise for people would be even just picking some, let's say 4 of their worst words that they use. Like even thinking of my mom again. Oh, I love my mom, but she's terrible word usage. And she always every once in a while she'll say to me, "Oh, I was bad. I
Yes.
had a dessert." And I'm like, "Why are you bad? Why is that bad? To enjoy living?" To indulge in a nice treat ever like why is that bad like did someone whip you like right like oh I was yeah it's just like what an odd thing to say but I'm like that's something that was pretty common it was bad to have well I'm sure it's unhealthy to eat all the treats in the world that doesn't make it bad again like differences so if possible, like pick those words you know, or maybe you have to kind of watch yourself for a couple days and see what you repeat need, want, can't, shouldn't over and over and write them down. And even if you need to contact one of us for help, come up with an empowering words to substitute with. And even if you just start there, let's replace 2 to 4 words. And just you can have your little list of this is what I replace it with, and just, yeah, to your point, put that in the reminder with your phone. Here's how many times did I say this? Was I successful at, using the alternative empowering one? And like, yeah, just again, these small steps along the way. Because I also find, and I know you already know this, when we start using the more empowered language, that positive language, the rest of it comes naturally. Once we can get that foothold of even just those few basic main words, we're shifting our entire thought process, the neural pathways, like you said, building those new ones, where all of a sudden it's just naturally going to come to us over time. So you kind of, yeah, I think it's a great little, like just deciding to cut out sugar, just one little step. Just do that first.
Yeah. And maybe not cutting out sugar, but replacing it with a better,
Alternative.
instead of white sugar,
Yeah.
use stevia, agave. There are substitutions so you don't feel like you are missing out or losing out, because that's
Yes.
where
You
it
know,
goes.
this is case in point. That was a poor word choice on my behalf. I didn't cut out sugar. I replaced it with maple syrup and honey.
Mhm.
I have an alter. So yeah, even right, like here we are talking about the word choices because we know better, and I still make poor word choices because I'm a human being.
And that's just it. It's
Yep.
not perfect, it's progress. It's not
Yes.
perfect, it's progress. It's not perfect, it's progress. And
Yep.
every single night, celebrate that progress.
You know what? And that is one of the most important things I find people just don't do is celebrate their wins. We find it trivial and inconsequential to celebrate a small win. But going back to our subconscious, it doesn't understand a small win from a big win. Our subconscious is, well, I do call it the toddler in the back of our mind. It doesn't get it. It's like a toddler. You clap, it's like, woo, we're clapping. Like it doesn't know if it's big or small. So it's all about, if you one time today you said, I choose to do this instead of I want or I can't or whatever. If you flip it and you make that empowered or better word choice, celebrate that. Be like, oh my God, I did it. I successfully let it roll off my tongue and it was amazing. I was conscious and I did it. That is going to empower your subconscious to want to do it more. Again, like a toddler. I don't know what I did, but I want to do it again. Yay. Right.
And on that note, guys, it is about that time.
Okay.
So yes, we
We
are
just
about
do so well.
30 minutes, and we could definitely talk more about this. And I would like to see, down the road, we will have these conversations about intuition and other things. However, if you do want to reach out to one of us, you can always send us a message through Facebook. I'm Trisha Dyka. Sonia, where
Sonia.
can they reach you at?
Yeah, I am Sonia LD on Facebook. My business page is Sonia LD Coaching. So if you happen one or the other, but probably my profile you'll find. And it's got my face in there so you can see me.
All right. I am wishing everybody a great rest of your Monday. And if you have any thoughts or questions when you're watching the replay, please post below and ask, and we will definitely come back around and respond to you.
Yes, I love obviously, I loved having discussions about it.
Yes, 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 yes. Yes.
Thank you so much for hosting this.
Thank you.